destroyed. These are signs of the Day of Judgment. So what have you prepared? And the final point I want to discuss is about da'wah and how da'wah is given in today's context, today's day and age. Those of you who follow da'wah and people who are speakers, people who have YouTube channels and stuff, you may have started to notice the way da'wah is given nowadays. Whatever type of da'wah is given, we always must measure it and take it back to the way of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because he was the ultimate da'iyah from the du'at and the a'imma and the imams and rusul and the anbiya. He was the ultimate. And if we look at the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, even before Nabuwa and the Risala came to him, what was he known as amongst the community? As-Sadiqul Ameen. Meaning that his character was developed before revelation came down. Character development is very important. Character came before theology. Character came before revelation. And when at the age of 40, when the Prophet was known amongst his community as the most truthful, the most person with the best akhlaq, everything Allah had given him, and then he was ready to take the load of revelation for 23 years. Now look at today, what's happening. We have speakers who are giving talks, banging tables, shouting, screaming, and apparently this is supposed to win people over. The only time the messenger would raise his voice was on the mimbar. The narrations mention on the mimbar, the Sahaba mentioned that the messenger's eyes would turn red. You could see the vein from here as though he's warning us of an imminent attack from an army. He was very passionate only on the mimbar. And nowadays what we're seeing are people who are giving da'wah in such a way where others are looking and saying, this is a bit harsh, isn't it? Somebody could say, trying to get people to worship Allah, like my khutbah today, the mawdu was to worship Allah. He could say, in the jargon that they use, bro, innit bro, get your head down and worship Allah, innit bro. Don't walk around. What kind of da'wah? How is this type of da'wah going to change Muslims? There's an etiquette, and these kind of people we're seeing, and it's adding to creating the next generation of youngsters who are going to be very harsh, very abrasive. If you want to look at famous people who gave da'wah, who were not scholars, but they had a certain status, look at, I'll give you two examples in the last 20, in this century. Muhammad Ali the boxer, for example. Look at the way he came across when people knew he became a Muslim. Look at the way he came across, suited, booted, the way he spoke, very articulate. The way he gave da'wah to millions, amazing. Malcolm X, for example, again, none of these are scholars. We're not saying take from them. What we're saying is when a person has a platform, look at how they use that platform. Again, he used to be a drug dealer. He used to be a pimp. He used to be a person who was involved in crime. When he found Islam, he dropped everything. He came out very articulate, spoke very nicely, intellectual. We do the opposite. We think Islam is about, yo bro, being tough in it bro. And we weaponize Islam by using the ayat and hadith to justify our behavior. This is not the way of Islam. Our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam would give da'wah in a way which was befitting, in a way which had noble mannerisms. And this is what we're looking for, youngsters. I know we have an issue that because of our negligence, we have lost the next generation. They have gone into a roadman kind of behavior, yo bro, all that. But it doesn't mean that we start speaking like that to bring them back. No, the onus is upon them to come onto the way of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We don't change. The way of our Nabi, the akhlaq will remain till the Day of Judgment. They have to say, you know what, enough is enough. We went to the best schooling system in the UK for 16 years. I travel Africa, Asia. Kids are poverty-stricken kids. They're catching 3 buses just to get to a school in the village which has nothing. Yet we have the best education system and we choose. after 16 years of being taught consonants and vowels and adjectives and nouns in the best schooling system, we choose to speak like yo bro fam, any bro. We choose to be like this. We choose to be a certain segment of society that isn't appealing, isn't motivating. What about the other people who live in the same society? People who don't like Islam. I don't want to mention any names here. Do you find them hanging around on the corners? They went to the same schooling system, but they chose the way. They knew that to excel and to be people in the dunya who can run the world, education is important. We all have a level playing field here, brothers. We all have the best schooling systems, but we choose to be like this. We choose to go into drugs, knives, violence. We choose this ourselves. So when a person is giving da'wah to these kind of audiences, stick to the Quran and Sunnah in terms of mannerisms. The onus is upon those people to conform their personalities and characters. Even the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, they were, before Islam came, they were known to be gangsters. They were known to drink and do bad things to such an extent that even the Romans and the Persian Empire would say, let's not even invade this place called Arabia. These people are backward. They have nothing beneficial to offer society. That's why these were called the days of Jahiliyyah. And then when our Nabi came, he revolutionized their character and the call that they became the superpower. They became the superpower, the way they spoke, the way they humbled themselves. And now anyone who bangs the table the hardest, shouts and screams whilst they're giving a talk, it'll be packed out, and you're creating more angry young men who go home and they start saying to their families, Mom, why haven't you got hijab on your head? Dad, grow a beard because he's sick, bro. What is this? This is not Islam. And forgive me for speaking like this if you don't like it. I don't like this, but I have to try and give you examples. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to stick to the way and the beautiful mannerisms of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Wallahi, success lies in the character of our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in his mannerisms, especially when we give da'wah. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq, the ability, the motivation, the inspiration to turn to him 5 times a day. For verily this is the reason that we have been created. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. Allahumma a'izz al-islam wal muslimin. Allahumma ansur